Welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm your host, Darrell Scott, and together we will dive into the lives and careers of the jazz legends who have left a rhythmic imprint on the world. Be prepared to reminisce on the highs and the lows of their musical journey and the trials that sculpted their timeless musical gems. We'll preserve the legacy of these extraordinary maestros and find inspiration in the melodies of their lives. Subscribe now and never miss a beat. Now, let's get to the show.
La 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 la. Se dia eu voltar lá pra Bahia, eu vou na igreja do Bonfim, vou rezar uma prece com alegria, pedir ao santo pra você voltar pra mim.
Hi there, this is Darrell Scott. Welcome to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. When I was doing my research on this gentleman, I found out that he's jumped out of planes, he swam with dolphins. So at the end of the show, we're going to ask him what's left to do because he's done at least two more things that I will never do. I'm not jumping out of the plane because I'm afraid of heights. Just swimming with dolphins seems kind of cool. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is Spanish, so I'm going to practice here. Moises Borges, is that how we pronounce the name?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, Darrell. How are you?
Good. I understand that, first of all, you were not born here, but you have
No.
migrated to Cleveland. First of all,
That's
tell
correct.
everybody where you were born and when or why you migrated to Cleveland.
I am from Salvador, Bahia, in Brazil. Salvador is the capital of Bahia state in Brazil. And I grew up there until when I was 29. And then I moved to Miami for a job, where that's where I met my wife and mother of my son. And when we were living there after a year and a half, she was pregnant and she wants to have the baby in Cleveland because that's where her mother lives and where she's from, actually from Bay Village. And her sister was pregnant too. And she just want to be everybody together in the same city. So she wants to move from Miami to Cleveland. I said, yes, dear.
Okay.
All
Yep.
right, let's go. And after I moved here, I was still working with photography and video productions, which was my main activity. When I worked in Miami, I was working with photography for magazines and newspapers. I have a pile of first pages of newspapers and magazines, magazine covers. And I started working here for some photography companies, wedding companies, got a lot of score 10 wedding photographies, and I probably shoot over 1 million pictures in
Wow.
12 years. And then little by little, I started engaging with the music scene and showing more of my background, my culture. The guitar was one way to keep in touch with my roots from Brazil. And I also noticed a lack of exposure from mostly the youth, the local youth,
Mm-hmm.
to cultures from different countries. And that put me in a quest to expose more and more the community to Brazilian culture, especially with music, with live music. And I little by little started putting together a band and creating a name on the music scene and playing live Brazilian jazz all over. And parallelly with that, I also implemented a cultural project called the Afro-Brazilian Cultural Appreciation Initiative. And that project I share on schools, 5th to 8th graders. Usually we get about 150 students per school.
Wow.
And we show them different workshops on Brazilian culture. And we show the Brazilian Afro drumming,
Mm-hmm.
and we practice with them and get them playing big drums, little drums, and being a beat together, so they have that sense of being depending on each other to make something happen and work as a team. Also, we do a workshop with capoeira, which is a body movement technique developed in Brazil with the Africans there during the colonial time. And it's probably one of the most known things about Brazil outside of Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
the capoeira uh, body movement technique that was developed by the Africans. It's a combination of knowledge from different cultures within the African diaspora. Also, we do a live Brazilian band demonstration with samba, and we bring in a samba teacher to have the kids doing a samba dancing workshop. So they learn the steps, the dance all together. And this is not only the kids, we bring parents and teachers, whoever is in there right now.
Right.
Um, have everybody practicing on um, this realm of Brazil because they all blend into each other.
Right.
And before we go, 3 weeks prior, we do present them a request for all the students to do a research on Brazilian topics like geography, population, language, and costumes and such. So by the time we get there, they have knowledge to ask questions to the keynote speaker that will be speaking about Brazil and checking in with their questions and uh, doubts on what they have researched about. And they put together panels. And this is all with Brazilian music and live music. And when we play with the band, the drummers play along and the capoeira people and the dance and the samba dancers dance. So this was another way that I found to project the Brazilian culture locally. But most often, I'm out there playing in some jazz club or festival in some area uh, places. Very often, I have concerts
When do you
throughout
have
this.
you at this stage, you're doing so much. You've got the classes, you got the cultural classes going on, you're playing in many different clubs, and you've
Mhm.
got so much going on. How do you, and this is a big thing with me, how do you manage your time? Because you got a wife, you got kids. That's got to be tough.
Uh, my kids are grown. My one kid is grown. I do have 3 divorces, and that tells you how my time is.
Yes.
Uh, I really base everything on trying to be organized with the calendar because right now I do have help from 2 agents to book nationally and one to book internationally. There's an agency out of Zurich in Switzerland that's booking Europe and Japan tours right now for the springtime. Um, and I do have another agent booking nationwide for before and after the spring. So they help me to take these tasks out of my hands. And I try to take care of the local things myself. So it's a lot of emails and
Yeah.
forms to fill out and invoices and hiring musicians for bands because I do play with different ensembles. Right now, after the um, publication of this last album, which is called Baiano, matter of fact, we just submitted that to the American Grammys for their consideration. After we released this album at the end of last year, I worked on a different orchestration for the songs. So I included 4 horns, and we have harmonies and horns charts for probably 15 songs now, which makes them a little longer, maybe another extra minute or so,
Mm-hmm.
and that we can keep up with a good 2 hours straight up tempo concert. With that, we have baritone sax, tenor sax, trombone, and trumpet,
Yes.
2 or 3 back vocals, bass, 3 percussionists. I play and sing guitar. And if there is budget, we'll still bring samba dancers and capoeira for the front of the stage. but the band alone goes from 10 to 12 people.
Wow.
This is one format that's the one I used for the Tri-C Jazz Club. For the Tri-C Jazz Festival. And recently we just did a concert in Oberlin for the Oberlin Brazilian Association carnival party for the kids there, which was amazing. The kids were really excited on dancing. And so that musical work, doing arrangements and preparing charts for different instruments, besides write music and recording and collaborating with different artists, that all takes a lot of time. It's really planning on when, and putting on the calendar and following up with so many tasks.
You've got to be very, very disciplined. I mean, you really have to stick to a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of music, so you're a guitar player, correct?
Correct.
Who were your influences on playing the guitar? Do you have any? Or are you like self-taught? Are you classically trained? What's your story?
I did teach myself to play the guitar. There was one first class that I took a class on how to tune the guitar when I was young, because when I got a guitar in the house, my dad got a guitar for him when I was probably 7. But Dad didn't know how to play the guitar at all. He just picked up a guitar and put it inside of the house. And when I saw that, I grabbed it. So this is mine now.
Right. Yes.
And
yes.
I started trying to pluck some melodies out of it, of simple songs in one string, usually the bottom string. But then when there were lower notes and I was going on the upper strings to go lower,
right,
I found the notes that I wanted for the melody, but the guitar was out of tune. So I still played it, and my one friend from school was impressed. How could I find out how that melody notes would be, where they would be, and how to put the finger? And he wanted me to show that to his dad, because his dad was a guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
So he took me to his house, and when I got there, his dad gave me his guitar. His guitar was in tune. And I couldn't find the notes. I was so upset. How I can play my guitar and I can't play in yours? So I ran. I played it for him on my guitar out of tune. So
right.
I put in the fingers wherever I could find the notes. And he was laughing. Son, you need to tune your guitar. He picked up the guitar, twing, 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 tuning the whole guitar. I said, no, don't do that.
No,
it's like, no, you don't play like that. You need to play this right. You pick up the phone. It was a rotary
phone, right? Yeah.
Put on your ear. That is the E. And then you tune your first string and the last string, and then you tune the other ones this way and that way. So I had to relearn all those. So that was my only guitar class. And
wow.
From that on, I started picking up and learning a chord or two with another friend and looking at tablatures or magazines or so. And listening a lot to my biggest influencers, which was João Gilberto, which is number one. Also, João Bosco. João Gilberto is more Bossa Nova. Bosco is like a lot of Samba. And he's amazing with his Samba technique, which is also innovating. And also Caetano Veloso, which was pretty big on my influence when I was coming out of trying to learn a song or two. And Gilberto Gil, beautiful arrangements and harmonies. Those are my 4 main influences on Brazilian music. Of course, there are many others that come up with amazing things, but those are the 4 main ones.
Good. Excellent. We're going to take some time now and listen to some of the music that you have played. We're going to listen to Cora Coralina on the Jazz Flyte Podcast with our guest, Moises Borges.
Cora Coralina, coração, uma mulatinha do sertão. Cora Coralina, coração, uma mulatinha do sertão que vai tomar seu banho de mar, que vai tomar seu banho de sol. Vai chegando essa gata morena, beijo no girassol. Vem andando pela praia, mulher, na mão sua sandália, no pé, roda dessa sua saia, no é mar verde, céu azulão.
Welcome back to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I am Darrell Scott. Our guest today is Moises Borges. Uh, there are many things. You play a lot in Cleveland. You've got a new CD coming out. We will look forward to that. But the one thing that I noticed that I'm curious about is recently you have become a member of the Latin Recording Academy for the Grammys. Okay, I'm a novice. What exactly do you do then with that position?
Well, when you were a member of that club, what means is you get invitations to their events. Some artists sometimes do release parties, or sometimes they have a cocktail for some announcements or things. And also, you do have the ability to vote for the Grammy, but submit the people that submit their music for the Latin Grammy, which will take Latin American original artists from anywhere in the world to submit. You can submit from outside of the United States, and you can also submit your own songs and participate on the Grammy competition. And but that's exactly what gives you ability to. You can participate and interact with the club, with all the participants, and go to events and meet them, vote and submit recordings as well for their appreciation.
That's got to be neat because now you're getting influences from all across the Latin community, whether they be America, Brazil, wherever. Um, has there ever been anything that totally stood out to you that you went, or that maybe that you said, I want to now play with this person who submitted this song, or is there a song that you've been on that's been nominated for a Grammy?
Could you ask that question again?
Have you ever been nominated for a Grammy?
No,
No?
no. This is my first time submitting and being part of the clubs. When you are part of the Latin Recording Academy, you can do a dual membership with the American Academy as well, and you can use that for both purposes. So after I released this last album on the end of last year, which is 100% my originals, then I could be a published artist, submit for the Grammy appreciation, and um, uh, present shows with original music, which is most of the time what most of the jazz clubs want.
Hmm. What's it like? This is a good question, I think. So you are not from here, you've moved here. What is it about Cleveland, and we'll say the Cleveland jazz scene, that is unique to you that you truly like?
You know, I have lived in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil, which is my original city, and I moved to Madrid, then I moved to Lisbon, then I moved to Rio, then I moved to Miami, then I moved to Cleveland. And Cleveland is the place that I like the best among all of those, and that I prefer to live. And most likely, I'm not going to move out. I'm going to stay here for the rest of my life because I encountered here a great um, amount of friends. The music scene here is wonderful. It's probably better than anywhere else where I live. I mean, Salvador, the music scene is outrageous, but to play concerts, it's very difficult because there's besides of the competition that I would have over there. When I used to live in Salvador, I was not playing concerts. I was open mic here and there, but but the competition is really, really high. It's
Hmm.
a city, it's a musical city, but really strong music scene. And most of the people that have any success there, they are very famous and such. Besides Bossa Nova and Samba, it's not really what they do there anymore. Um, besides of that, Cleveland is like a small, big city.
Hmm.
It does have everything a big city has, but not the big traffic. We have very good traffic here. You know,
Right.
we cannot say that in a lot of cities in the United States or in the world. Traffic is something that really uh, gets someone stressed. And in Cleveland, we do have a very easy traffic life, let's say. besides of that, great cultural city where you have a great blend of different cultures.
Mhm.
Um, you have people from all over the world here in the clinics, in the universities. You have a variety of gastronomy options from different cultures. You can eat all kind of different foods from different places because we do have that international influence. And then you have international music, international arts, international everything, which gives you uh, 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 the opportunity to appreciate all these different cultures in one place. And the music scene in Cleveland is amazing. The blues, the rock and roll, the jazz,
Right.
everything's happening here. Um, Besides that, there are great schools and great hospitals. We have the second biggest theater district in the country, best orchestra. Our ball teams are playing a lot of ball. I mean, what is it to complain about Cleveland?
We are going to make you an ambassador for Cleveland because everything you said is very good and it's very positive. And you seem to be a very positive person, but you also seem to be what I call a doer. I heard a story about you swimming with dolphins. I heard a story about you jumping out of planes. Is there anything else on that line that you'd like to do? Is there anything like that left for you to do?
I think I've done everything. There's a lot of things that are not online. Like last in March this year, I was with some friends on the Sea of Cortez on the uh, Baja California Peninsula in Mexico, and we went to see a place where gray whales would reproduce. They're huge and they're kind. They come to the boat, you can pet them. And my friends are all petting them. And I decided to put some goggles and flippers and jump in the water and start swimming with the whales. That
Really?
was wonderful. And I was going on the bottom. Their bottom is really white and big. And coming out on the other side, that was about what I could handle without breathing. And then they start hitting their tail really, really hard
Right.
on the water. They're the size of an 18-wheeler truck. Right? Every time they hit the tail, the boat almost flipped. A couple of people fell in the water. They jumped back in the boat and they kept hitting the water. And the boat took off and left me there in the middle of the bubbles. And I tried to get up my head out of the water. And after 5 minutes, I was almost out of air. They stopped hitting the water. And that baby whale was always close to me. And the big whales are hitting the water and surrounding me and the baby whale. And then the boat came back after they stopped, and I jumped back in the boat really fast. And they go to me and said, "Hey, did you see the shark? The shark? The size of that shark?" I was like, "Oh no, I did it. He could have eaten you in one bite." They was trying to eat the baby whale, but the whales were hitting it, and then somehow a bunch of dolphins showed up, and the shark took off because sharks are afraid of dolphins. And I said, "Okay, I never dive with whales again. Enough." That's one.
I,
And lately, I just got back from Spain. I went to the Canary Islands, and there is the highest elevation on the whole Atlantic coast is in the Canary Islands. It's a huge 2.2 kilometer high volcano.
uh,
Like, and some friends are saying, "Hey, the wind over there is a very nice breeze from the ocean. We could just put a parachute on and jump from there." It's like, really? And
okay.
that is actually what I did. Um, Matter of fact, um, it took about 45 minutes from the top of the volcano to hit the beach. 45 minutes. And it was cold. It was about um, 1 degree Celsius or about 33, 34
Right.
Fahrenheit. And um, that was the longest flight that I had. And it was amazing because I was flying on top of a different volcanoes. There's over 100 volcanoes on that island. And every time you go down a little bit, the vegetation changes completely from, pine trees to cactuses to banana trees to until you get to the bottom. And temperature change, atmospheric pressure change. It was really something that I have never done it before from a volcano. I usually do paragliding, which skydiving, which is just jump from an airplane. But this one, it was so here we go with the parachute. This volcano. I was just putting a video together, but this is jumping right from the top of the volcano.
Oh,
And,
Moises. Oh my
and
goodness. Is there a clause in your musical contract that says you shouldn't do these things because you can get hurt?
no. I mean, this is just a little, we have a little urge for adrenaline now.
That's too funny. Okay, let's take some time.
I
Listen.
used to do, I used to do regularity rallies and motorcycle race competition off-road contests for both styles when I was in Brazil.
Mm,
It
mm.
was-
Um, I- you're inspiring in the different things that you do. I'm gonna say this to you, but it's crazy. It really is. You see a lot of things, whether it's vegetation or land, or you're with whales, you're with sharks, the whole nine yards. It's all wonderful. But the other interesting part about it is one little thing. A gust of wind comes along and you're blown into the volcano, or you're blown off the island. A whale comes down and just bumps you. I'm a huge whale fan. Just I am. And I know
Well,
the
Darrell,
size. I know the size of those things. And if they just bump you, it throws you off, and who knows what can happen.
yeah, you know, 3 miles away there was the other island besides Tenerife in the Canary Islands that the volcano was actually erupting. That one was active, but it was not erupting. But the caldera of the volcano is 9 miles long, just the mouth of it.
Uh,
And um, so when you jump down from 2.2 kilometers high, we were above the clouds. There was this little breeze that keeps sustains the
right,
parachute there. By the time we got to the beach, we were so high above the beach that we have to going like a
like,
spinning
right.
down and diving to get out of the cold.
Uh,
But we can definitely control to do not land on the beach. And if there was any threat of the volcano erupting there, we were not going to. It was over 2 hours by car just to get on top of the volcano. It was a really long ride.
dude. There's going to be another show with you where we're just going to talk about the daredevil inside of you, and
Oh, man, there's some
the,
other
the other
things
thing is
that I do that thing.
I always
Even though
suggest I always try to suggest different things to different artists. I really think you should put together a book of your travels. So
that's
you
my
they can
dad. He keeps saying that.
you can put all these things together, videos of you, we'll just call it flying 2.2 kilometers in the air, and all this other sort of stuff. Okay, I live vicariously through you. I'm going to take a big deep breath. And I think what we'll do right now is take a listen to some of your music, which is, now don't get me wrong, make sure I pronounce this correctly. Voltar Par Salvador. This is a
Voltar
song.
Par Salvador means going back to Salvador.
Okay.
It's a song that I wrote for my dad because he was here visiting and then he went back home to Brazil and he sent me a text on WhatsApp. Hey, say, I visit you, so when you're coming to visit me. And I wrote him a line on the text and I wrote him another line and another line. And I was like, hold on, this is rhyming. So then put another rhyme and another rhyme. So, okay. So I ended up writing a song right there on the texting with him.
Nice.
And then I said, hold on, instead of saying this, send a message, I just turned the recording on my phone and I played the
And you
song for
play it?
him. But then I went on and I recorded it. And that song is a Axé music style, which is the style that we use for the Carnival festivities in Salvador, which is a blend of rhythms. Most of them are with African influence or from Africa. Axé means happy. Um, and there is a lot of drumming. in a style that's called Olodum. Olodum is a Brazilian cultural entity in Salvador that promotes the African culture, and they have a very unique rhythm on the big bass drum, dum dum dum, dum 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 dum, dum dum dum,
Hmm.
dum 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 dum, dum, and then you can do a lot of little things on the drums that goes on top. So I used horns, drumming, and there's a little bit of a market talk because Dad likes going to the market and asking for a lower price on that banana or things like that. So there's a
Right.
little bit of that. And because I am here with so much jazz influence, there's some jazz on the music as well. And this is actually the song that Maria Jacobs did some back vocals. And I understand that she was on your show not too
Yes.
long ago.
Hmm.
And and she's on the Voltar Par Salvador song on the album that was submitted for the Grammy appreciation there.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
that's Voltar Par Salvador.
All right. Let's take a listen to that particular song on the Jazz Flight Podcast.
Se eu não, eu vou embora. Vou voltar pra Salvador. Pulinho lá na Bahia. Passear lá no Pelô. Barra tem piripiri. Pra comer acarajé. Tem ladeira do Pelô e seu gravinho. Pouquinho de alegria. No pedaço do axé. Passear lá no Pelô.
You're listening to the Jazz Flight Podcast. I am Darrell Scott. The guest today is Moises Borges. The biggest thing, recently we lost Sergio Mendes. What does
Yeah.
Sergio Mendes mean to you, your career personally?
It's one of the greatest examples of success on Brazilian music in the United States. I got lucky that last year, about exactly a year ago, I went to see his concert in Toronto,
Hmm.
and I could see how a 92 years old man does such a show. He does have his band. It was beautiful. A theater probably would fit about 1,200 people. And he did have Monday, Tuesday, and Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 3 p.m. And all the concerts were sold out. What a beauty. But the way he got famous was by doing very good songs to start with, very good arrangements. He's a great musician. And he did introduce English lyrics on songs, all part of the songs, which made it easier for the Americans to understand
Right.
the music, the mood of the music, or parts of the music, but still without losing the Brazilian flair on it. So that was probably, besides Antonio Carlos Jobim, one of the greatest Brazilian music influencers in the country.
Nice. So you've got a new record out. Tell us about the new record or new CD.
Uh-huh. Yes, this album, I named it Baiano because Baiano is a name given to whoever is born in the state of Bahia in Brazil, Baiano. And this album, I bring the original songs. There are songs that I play only guitar and vocals, and there are songs that I have a whole orchestra with horns. For example, the song Pipoca no Arribó has 12 horns on that. The song Voltar Par Salvador you just played have probably 32 drums, different drums on that. While Pedir ao Santo is guitar and vocals. And the song Estrela, which is also a bossa nova, it has a 20-piece choir singing along with me. And, there's a different styles. I have a funk, bossa nova, samba, jazz. Magrela song, the Magrela means skinny lady. In Cleveland, many people here might know the restaurant Batuque, the Brazilian restaurant Batuque. There is one on Larchmere near Shaker Square, another one in Chagrin Falls. And that song Magrela is for my aunt that owns Batuque, um, because back in the day when she met Gustavo, which is now her husband, Gustavo was a little chubby, and he saw my aunt dancing salsa in a club and said, "Hey, who's that beautiful skinny lady?" And, "Hey man, get away! It's my aunt. You know, you watch."
Right. Yeah.
And, "Oh, what, do you want your aunt for yourself? I'm your friend. You like me? Maybe you introduce me to her." And so they got married and they opened the Brazilian restaurants. But that song talks about him saying, "Hey, I know I'm a little chubby, but I'm gonna want to get maybe a kiss from that skinny lady." And
Nice.
then I made that song out of that. It's a very good Brazilian jazz. It does have Mauricio Zottarelli on drums, Kip Reed on bass, um, and Joshua Smith on tenor sax. There's the song Orisha. Orisha, it's a name for the African saints on the Yoruba tradition.
Hmm.
It's in the area of Nigeria, Benin, Togo. Um, and that um, I did write this song 100% in Yoruba language because we do have the Yoruba language influence in the city of Salvador in Brazil because also 4 million Africans came in and of course they bring in culture. Um, so I did write it in Yoruba and I used a samba rhythm as a red carpet for the song,
Hmm.
but I did put it together in a jazz format.
Okay.
So right there you have African culture, Brazilian culture, American culture. Nevertheless, samba has African influence, and jazz, the art of improvisation also came in with the African diaspora. So it all returns back to Mother Africa.
Nice.
So
Nice.
that song, it's a very good jazz song. Cora Coralina Coração, which is a song that you played before. This song I wrote for a girlfriend that gave me a lot of reason to write a song about her. And it's like writing the girl from Ipanema again in a different format and lyrics.
Hmm.
But I do use three different rhythms on that song. And when I change rhythms, it's changed the orchestration to match the rhythm.
Okay.
Um, so I use forró, which is a very popular rhythm like salsa for the Brazilians. I use samba, which is also a very festive rhythm for the Carnival festivities, mostly in Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo area, but it also came from Bahia. I use coco and maracatu, which are northeast um, Brazil rhythms with more indigenous influence. And that became that song became a hit pretty quick.
Nice.
Voltar Par Salvador, I already told you, it was a song that I wrote for my dad. The song Lazy, I do have a guest on that song that is from Nigeria. He's a rapper, a poet from Nigeria. He
Hmm.
lives in California doing coding for computers, but he wrote a rap that talks about being lazy and I don't want to do anything. Even my roof is on fire, I don't care. I'm not gonna open the door if somebody's knocking, da da da. But I feel so lazy because of the beach and uh,
Right.
the other song is Pedir ao Santo, which is asking to the saint. It's a very pretty bossa nova song of someone that goes back to Bahia and asking the saint, because that person is religious, to see that love to come back to him and meet the girl again and go play soccer in the beach and eat the regional foods and bow to the local gods. This is a bunch of very local things for Bahia, but it brings back the bossa nova because lately there's not a lot of people recording bossa
Bossa
novas,
Nova.
but that song's lyrics came out very beautiful. So this whole album has to do with being things from Bahia state. That's why I can actually name it Baiano. And when I submitted it to the Grammys, I also did submit it as an album because it does have a story.
Right.
And yeah, yeah. And also I did have the very special participation of Diego Figueiredo on guitar in one of the songs that I did that was Pedir ao Santo, which he's also a Grammy Award nominee. did have Kay Peplowski, which is from Cleveland, but he
Yes.
works all over the world.
Hmm.
Kay Peplowski is playing clarinet in a couple of songs, including the Lazy song and which has the Nigerian rapper, and Estrella, which is the song that has the 20-piece choir. Also, I have Tuchito Valdez, which is a Cuban pianist
Hmm.
from the legendary Buena Vista Social Club Heritage family. He's also in the album, and he's also on the song Estrella as well. And he did record two other songs with me. That's coming up on the next album because I did write a bolero and a salsa along with Miguel Cune that I want to record that one now with Sam De Leon so I can keep it very local with Jackie on the CD. Let's
Jackie
rock it.
Warren, Sammy De Leon, trying to get them both on the show.
Yeah, so I was very happy with the release of this album because I could compile a bunch of things about around the same subject, what's being from Bahia.
Right.
So the album's called Baiano.
So, Moises, how can our listeners keep in keep track of everything that you do? And everything is an incredible list between, I don't know, skydiving, fish, the classes that you teach, and that whole area of education that you're a part of, plus your music. And I'm sure you have a tour schedule. So, do you have a a social media presence?
Oh, yes. The main place to go it's moisesborges.com,
Okay.
and that you will have videos, music, music tracks. You have my schedule, which tells you only the public places where I'm playing. The website will have a store where you can buy souvenirs and CDs and hats and shirts, um, coffee mugs if you want to. It does have um, bio. Also, wherever the newspapers publish, there's
Hmm.
a news section. Like right now, I just got written about the concert I did a few weeks ago at the Maltz Performing Arts
Hmm.
Center for the
Right.
Cleveland Classical Guitar Society showcase concert, and it was published by Cleveland Classical Guitar. It was published online, and I did post that publication article on their website as well. Besides the schedule for shows, you can find pictures, and there's a bunch of videos with video clips, videos from shows, videos from interviews or
Right.
radio shows.
Hmm.
There are radio shows there. There's also a contact page if you need to contact me. You can find my contact form submission. There's also a phone number if you prefer calling. I don't mind. You also have an icon for cultural projects, so people can see more thoroughly what the cultural projects are, how they act, and if you want to do a donation to build up funds for another presentation, you're welcome to. And for bookers, I do have the icon for the EPK, which you can see pictures and
Hmm.
descriptions for media and propaganda. And the best way to do it is opting in for the email subscription. So you get my monthly newsletter and know what's coming up, what's going on. And, you keep in touch all the time. You can respond directly to the newsletter. I'll get your email right in my inbox.
Marcius, I appreciate the time. Of course, in you telling us everything that you do, I'm amazed that you have time. But greatly appreciated. Don't be surprised if you look up one day and you're in a club playing and 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 this guy walks up to you and says, "Hello, I just wanted to sit down and meet you in person." Moises, it's been a pleasure. I'm so
It's been
glad
a
that you
pleasure.
are here. It is a very enlightening life that you lead. Keep leading it, keep putting out music, keep doing the classes, stop jumping out of planes, stop swimming with whales. Moises Borges, thank you very much. You've been listening to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I'm Darrell Scott. We will talk to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Jazz Flyte Podcast. I hope you enjoy these stories and soulful melodies that grew through the doors of time. If you want to stay connected with the latest updates and episodes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Until next time, I'm Darrell Scott.